Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Extreme AGL Cooler, that is the Resolute Execution Cooler final form, and how good he is after his EZA on Global as a part of the World Tournament. So he's an AGL type key lead of 3 HP attack and defense of 40%, nothing too major. In terms of his super attack effect, he raises defense 1 turn, causes supreme damage, and greatly lowers defense to the opposition. His passive skill is Key +2, attack and defense of 100%. AGL type units get Key +1, attack and defense of 40%. He launches 2 additional attacks, each that has a rare chance of becoming a super attack, and he gets an additional attack of 20% up to 100% with a chance of evading +5% up to 50 with each attack performed. He gets an additional attack and defense of 50% when there's another Terrifying Conqueror's category ally attacking in the same turn. Now, I really like this guy. I think he's really cool, and there's a couple reasons why. Firstly, AGL type support's not too bad. There's quite a few Terrifying Conquerors units that will benefit from this. Looking at AGL Golden Freezer, AGL Metal Cooler, AGL Baby, AGL Napper and Vegeta all benefit from having this guy being a floating support on their team. And I do think he's a floating support. Secondly, his link set's really good. He's got Thirst for Conquest, Cold Judgment, Big Bad Bosses, Metamorphosis, Sharing the Limit, all nice links that allow him to link pretty well on a Terrifying Conqueror's team. He'll be able to trigger a lot of units' best links, being Thirst for Conquest, Big Bad Bosses, Metamorphosis, and by link leveling them you give him quite a sizable boost. On top of that as well, he has up to 50% evasion after a couple attacks, and he can get there pretty quickly. You give this guy just a little bit of additional, he can hit 4 attacks quite easily in a turn, and then what that'll do is that'll enable him to have around about 40% evasion by the end of his second turn, which ultimately is pretty good. In terms of attack stats, this guy can hit pretty hard as well. With Big Bad Bosses active at 55%, he can hit 4.6 million. At 100% with all of his links active, with link level 10, you could be looking at a unit that fires off 6 or 7 million attack stats, which at the end of the day is pretty good. And then in terms of build, for this guy you could build him into additional and crits. Additional could help him proc additional super attacks, which would raise his defense quite nicely, but then also crits will enable him to access some decent damage from his decent attack stats. I think overall this guy is pretty good. I like him a lot. I think he's closer akin to Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan than he is to other units. He's great. You can really use him to kind of boost any AGL unit that he's on the team of, whether that's Wicked Bloodlines, Terrifying Conquerors, Movie Bosses. Yeah, off the top of my head, Baby, Android 13, Full Power Freezer, Golden Freezer. All of those units are going to benefit from being alongside him. Turles, Vegeta, Great Ape Vegeta, plenty of units will benefit from his support, and I think that's something that's really fantastic and allows you to have a really good time. Stats wise, we're looking at a decent unit. Start turn defense being 144k. It doesn't really go up from there at 55%. It depends on your link levels. After super, it goes up a little bit closer to the 200k mark, but really it's his evasion that he relies on. Even at 100%, you're relying a lot more on his evasion to kind of carry him through surviving attacks, or at least super attacks, more than anything else. But he's still pretty good. Depending on how many supers you luck out on, his defense can also be relatively decent as well. But it's the big time support, it's the activating of links, and it's just the general really great utility that he brings that I think is really awesome. Now, of course, if the event disables evasion, he is going to struggle. That's definitely for sure, and I don't think that should surprise anyone. It's not that surprising that a unit that can have up to 50% evasion will struggle without evasion. But in general, he's still pretty good, and I think a lot of the times he's going to really help out quite a few units and just be a cool kind of floating support for those Terrifying Conquerors, Wicked Bloodlines teams. Any AGL unit that appears on these teams is immediately going to benefit from his presence, and like I said, there's quite a few significant AGL type units already. So yeah, I think Cooler is pretty good. I don't think he's as good as Gohan, but I do think he's really solid. I think he's great, and I'm actually super excited to get his final copy and then rainbow him and actually see how good he is at the rainbow level, and then to even link level him, I think could be very interesting. I think he's genuinely a very interesting World Tournament unit. That evasion could lead to him being, really quite consistently solid, and the support he brings is quite cool, along with some decent attack stats. So I'm actually very much keen, very much keen on seeing how good he is, because I think genuinely speaking, he's just very impressive. Now, of course, link level wise, or linking, you're looking for Thirst for Conquest, Metamorphosis, definitely. Big Bad Bosses is a great help, of course, and probably the priority link over everything else, because it links up a lot with great extreme units. Cold Judgment is really good, but it's quite difficult to get Cold Judgment alongside all the other links. So if you can prioritize Big Bad Bosses rather, and then maybe Thirst for Conquest or Metamorphosis, and leave Cold Judgment for last, that will probably net you the best result. Cold Judgment is cool, but it's just not something that's quite consistent to get. And so trying to focus on it, especially on the teams he's on, is going to be difficult. Whereas Thirst for Conquest, Big Bad Bosses, Metamorphosis, all of these links are going to be way more consistent. Obviously, Strongest Clan in Space, fantastic. And Sharing the Limit are his key links. Not too crazy, but he does give himself key from his passive, so it's not a big deal. It's just going to affect the units you try to link him with. But that's it from me. Bye.